What if I told you that 0% of what you think you know about Vincent van Gogh is actually the full truth? Stop right now. Imagine one man defined by 1,000 swirling stars, one severed ear, and one tragic end. We have inherited one legend of madness that completely overshadows the actual first human soul behind the canvas. Today, we are going to strip away the 100% fake myth and discover the first. Vincent, the one who failed at every single thing he touched for 27 years before he ever held one paintbrush. Why did he walk past one grave with his own name on it every single Sunday? Why did the world's most famous tortured genius actually consider his most famous work total 0% success? This isn't just art history. This is the first-hand account of a man who was 100% invisible to the world until he decided to paint the darkness that everyone else ignored. If you've ever felt like an outsider, or if you faced 1,000 rejections and felt like zero, you need to hear this. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we are going to reveal the first secret of the potato eaters, the one painting that explains everything about who he really was before the sunflowers, before the asylum, and before the one shot that changed everything. We are going from the zero of his failures to the one of his eternal legacy. This is the first true story of Vincent van Gogh. Are you ready to look into the first shadow? By the end of this video, you will finally understand how one man's repeated rejections at 27 years old became the first essential step toward creating the most influential art in human history. You see, the world loves one legend, but they rarely talk about the 0% success rate Vincent faced for nearly 3 decades. We are going to deconstruct the first psychological blueprint of a man who was 100% rejected by society, by the church, and even by his own family. You will discover why his absolute greatest masterpiece, the Starry Night, was actually one painting he himself dismissed as a total 0% failure. And on the flip side, you will learn why his first true breakthrough, muddy canvas called The Potato Eaters, was the first piece of art he defended with 100% of his soul until the very day he died. This isn't just a lesson in art history. It is a first-class masterclass in resilience and the hidden power of being the one outsider in a world of 1,000 clones. I am going to show you the first-hand evidence of how his failures, his 1,000 rejections, and his struggle with first-degree depression were not obstacles, but the first ingredients of his genius. Why should you stay until the very last 1 second of this video? Because if you have ever felt like the one who doesn't belong, if you have ever felt like your life is Vincent's first journey will prove to you that your current struggle is just the first chapter of your ultimate legacy. We are moving from the first shadow of doubt to the first light of revelation. This is the first promise. After today, you will never see the one and only Van Gogh or your own failures the same way again. I know exactly what it feels like to be the one who is 100% invisible. I know the first-hand frustration of drifting from one failed attempt to the next, feeling like a total zero in a world that demands 100% perfection and instant success. Vincent spent years in that first deep, dark place, a 0% career path where he failed as one teacher, one preacher, and one bookshop clerk. He was the one man who could never find one home, the one soul who was always one step behind everyone else. But it was precisely in that first-class wandering, in that 0% belonging, that he developed one thing that no one else in the 19th century had: a real raw 100% empathy for the 1,000s of people living on the forgotten fringes of society. He didn't just look at the poor. He became one of them. He understood that first-degree pain of having zero recognition and zero hope. During those years of drifting, he wasn't just losing one job after another. He was building the first emotional foundation of his future art. He found 100% beauty in the 1,000s of tired faces and the first-hand grit of those who lived hard lives. This is the first lesson for all of us. Your first years of wandering are never 0% wasted. They are the first seeds of your first-class purpose. Vincent wasn't just one failure. He was the one observer of the human condition. If you have ever felt like the one outsider looking in, or if you are currently in your first year of total uncertainty, remember this. Vincent was 0 before he was 1. He was the first to prove that having 100% empathy is more powerful than having one perfect life. This is where the first connection begins. This is where the first spark of art history was actually born in the first-hand pain of a man who belonged nowhere, so he could belong to thousands of people through his art. Vincent Van Gogh was born in 1853 in one small, quiet village called Zundert. But here is the first chilling detail that 99% of people completely overlook. He was born exactly 1 year to the day after his parents' first child, also named Vincent, was stillborn. Imagine the first-degree trauma of being the one replacement child. Every single Sunday, as he walked to one local church, he had to pass by one small grave that had his own name carved in stone. This was not just one curious detail. It was the first-hand portrait of himself he ever encountered. His own name, his first identity, already dead and buried under one cold slab of granite. This first encounter with death gave him one sense of displacement that 100% never left his soul. He wasn't just one boy. He was the one living ghost in a family that valued one thing above all: calm, stoic control. He was one intensely sensitive child, trapped in 100% emotional silence. Growing up in the shadow of one dead brother shaped his first-degree perception of existence itself. He felt like a 0, a mere first substitute for the one perfect son who never got to breathe. This is the first secret to understanding his 100% frantic search for meaning later in life. He didn't just want to paint. He wanted to prove he was one real, living human being. He spent his first years looking at 1,000 birds, nests in 1,000 twisted trees, because nature was the only one who didn't judge him for being one living replacement. This first-hand identity crisis is the first pillar of his 100% unique art history. If you have ever felt like you are living in one shadow, or if you feel the first-degree pressure to be someone you are not, you are finally meeting the first real Vincent. He was the one child who found his first voice in the 100% silence of a graveyard. This is the first reason why his art feels so 100% alive today, because he spent his first decade fighting the one idea that he was already dead. Growing up in the shadow of one dead brother gave him one sense of displacement that 100% never left. But it also forced him to look for first-hand meaning in the simple things. He was one intensely sensitive child in a family that valued one thing: calm, religious control. From his father, one Protestant minister, he inherited first-class values that would become the first foundation of his 100% unique vision. He learned that first-degree dignity doesn't come from one high social rank or 100% wealth. It comes from first-hand honest work and one simple, virtuous life. Long before he ever learned to draw one single line, this became the one way he saw 100% of the world. While other artists were looking for one perfect beauty in one expensive palace, Vincent was looking at 1,000 weavers, 1,000 potato diggers, and the quiet first-hand struggle of one humble cottage. He didn't just see one worker. He saw one sacred ritual of survival. This is the first-hand visual language he was secretly building during his first years of wandering. He absorbed the first-degree atmosphere of the Netherlands, the 100% gray skies, and the first-class rhythm of rural labor. Through his Protestant roots, he found first-hand beauty in one rough hand and one tired face. This 100% explains why his first great painting would not be one bright landscape, but one dark, dirty room filled with 100% humble people. This is the first transition to his true value. He was the one artist who decided that first-hand truth was 100% more important than first-class elegance. If you have ever felt like the first-degree work you do is 100% invisible, Vincent is the one who will prove to you that there is first-class glory in one simple act of endurance. He was returning to the first-hand roots of his first years, creating one bridge between one old world of labor and one new world of 100% emotional art. This is the first reason his work feels so first-degree human, because it was born from first-hand respect for the 1,000s of people who actually build the world with one set of tired hands. At 15, he left school with zero explanation, beginning one long, 100% uncertain search for meaning through 1,000 detours. He tried to fit into first-class society as one art dealer, but his first-degree obsession with truth made him a 0% success in sales. Then, he turned to the one thing he thought was his first true calling, one life of 100% religious sacrifice. He moved to the Borinage, one dark, first-degree mining district in Belgium, where the 1,000s of workers lived in one state of absolute 0% hope poverty. This was the first time the world saw the 100% extreme intensity of Vincent. He didn't just preach to the first miners. He became one of them. He gave away 100% of his clothes, 100% of his furniture, and even his first-hand bed, sleeping on one cold, dirty floor in 100% solidarity with those who suffered. They called him the one and only Christ of the coal mine. But here is the first-hand tragedy. The church authorities looked at his 100% devotion and saw 0% value. They dismissed him for being 100% too extreme, 100% too raw, and 100% too real. He was one man rejected by the first institution he tried to serve. But out of that first total exhaustion, out of that 0% hope, in the darkness of the 1,000-foot-deep mines, art finally opened one door. He realized that the first-hand lives of those 1,000s of workers had one gravity and one beauty that deserved to be shown to the first-class world. This was the first spark of his 100% transformation. He didn't choose art. Art was the first and only survival mechanism he had left after 1,000 doors slammed in his face. He started to draw in the 100% darkness, capturing the first-degree struggle of the human spirit. If you are currently facing 1,000 rejections and feel like zero, remember that Vincent's first-class light was born in the first-degree darkness of one coal mine. This was the first and only foundation for his first masterpiece. By the spring of 1885, Vincent was 100% ready to make one massive, serious statement to the first-class art world. He worked 24 hours a day, filling 1,000 pages with first-hand studies of heads, 1,000 studies of hands, and 1,000 studies of one single oil lamp. He didn't want one bit of first-degree elegance or 0% surface beauty. He wanted one thing and one thing only, the first-hand truth. He moved to Noonan and saw the first spark for his first true masterpiece, the Potato Eaters. He didn't want to paint one charming or 100% pretty scene for first-class galleries. He wanted to show 100% of the raw, first-hand hardship of the 1,000s of people who actually worked the land. He chose the de Groot family, 5 people he knew 100% well, and he spent 1,000 hours in their dark, tiny cottage. He painted 5 figures sitting around one small table, sharing one humble meal of potatoes by the first-degree light of one flickering oil lamp. Look at their faces. They are 100% distorted by first-degree labor. Look at their hands. The same hands they used to till the first soil are now reaching for the first dish. This was 100% intentional. Vincent was not trying to paint one mathematically correct anatomy. He was trying to capture the first-degree essence of survival. He applied the paint 100% thick and 100% crude, almost like he was first-hand plowing the canvas himself. He was one artist still learning 100% of the rules, but he was already breaking 1,000 of them to find one soul. Most critics at the time looked at this first dark canvas and saw 0% talent. They saw one muddy, first-degree technical failure, but Vincent defended it with 100% of his heart. He knew that this first painting was the first time he had ever been 100% honest. If you are struggling to find your first voice, and everyone tells you that you are zero, remember that Vincent Van Gogh's first-class truth was called one ugly failure, before it became one of the 1,000 most important paintings in first-degree history. Look at their hands, the same hands that tilled the first soil. Most people disagreed with his first dark colors, but Vincent defended it 100%. Now, here is the first-class irony that 99% of the world doesn't understand. 4 years later, in the first-degree isolation of an asylum, he painted one Starry Night with 1,000 swirls of energy and 100% vibrant color. Today, it is his first most famous work, but back then, Vincent dismissed it as one absolute failure. He felt it was 100% too abstract, 100% too far from the one truth he sought. The first painting, The Potato Eaters, was his 100% raw truth. The second was one desperate struggle with his own mind. Although their colors are 0% alike, both paintings use first-degree symbols instead of 100% reality. The muddy greens and first-hand browns of the first canvas bind the 1,000s of people to the first soil they work. The 1,000 blues and 1,000 yellows of the second canvas bind the first soul to the 1,000 stars of the first universe. Seen this way, these two works are the first and last bookends of his 100% unique journey. Meaning was not found in first-class cathedrals or 0% empty rituals, but at one humble peasant table that became one sacred altar. He was one man who realized that first-hand honesty is the only first-class currency that matters in 100% of art history. He applied the first-hand paint 100% thick and 100% heavy, because he was first-hand plowing his first soul into every first line. This is the first revelation. The one and only Van Gogh didn't want to be one legend. He just wanted to be first-hand honest about the first-degree pain and the first-degree beauty of being 100% human.